Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another match preview. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the likes, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts and score predictions in the comments below. Hope everyone's enjoying the festive period, having a good time. But yes, Chelsea are back to, in all likeliness, ruin it further. But guys, Crystal Palace coming to Stamford Bridge Wednesday evening, 7:30 kickoff. Chelsea in desperate need of the points. Sitting 10th, Palace are 15th. Only 4 points behind us, and the Blues need a response following the Christmas Eve disaster class up at Wolves. And you know what? This doesn't get any easier. Yes, Palace aren't great. They don't score a lot of goals. But we've got massive injury problems. Mauricio Pochettino confirming Enzo Fernandez will miss the game. Lesu Chukwu, who only returned against Wolves, felt something in his hamstring, will also miss the game. Moises Caicedo is a 50-50, depending on how he feels following the fever. Said he was feeling better, but we don't know if he's going to be fully available or not. We've got no Raheem Sterling and no Cole Palmer through suspension. I'm quite glad there's no Sterling because I'm still fuming about what he did against Wolves with that 3-on-1. I don't want to see him for a while. For me, it's unforgivable what he did in that situation. And it's not the first time, so I'm glad that we won't have to see him. But we are down to the bare bones. I mean, if I bring up the injuries on the screen now and what we're missing, it's just ridiculous. This is what's missing from the 25-man squad. No Chukwuemeka, no Chalobah, no Cucurella, no Fofana, no James, no Chilwell, no Sanchez, Palmer out, Sterling out, Caicedo's a doubt, and Enzo and Lesu Chukwu are both out as well. There is no squad depth available. I mean, it's a 25-man squad, and we've almost got all season we've had between 9 and 12 players missing with injuries, and every few weeks the team is constantly changing. Like, how do you expect to build any continuity on this front, people? How do we expect to build any continuity? The team constantly chopping and changing with this many players missing, every week. Poch absolutely has to carry blame, guys, for, shifting identities from one extreme to another, dreadful set piece defending. But I don't think people really have fully understood how big a job this is on so many different levels. And to be honest, I'm sick of seeing fans that just, baying for blood, asking for a sacking, and then they conveniently act dumbfounded as the next manager comes in, botches it up spectacularly as well. It literally doesn't make any sense to me. But those injury issues are just ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know what lineup we're going to put out at this point. They are ridiculous. And do you know what? I do laugh when people blame the manager, because there's 11 players available for tomorrow. We've had an average of 9 to 12 players missing each game, as I was saying. 2 stupid suspensions, one for Sterling for diving, one for Cole Palmer kicking the ball away. And it leaves us with probably the easiest 11 he can pick, because he's got no one else to actually go and pick. And it's just madness. It is absolute madness. It's not just the players that are missing either. It's also kind of who they are. It's not the amount, it's who they are. Chilwell, Reece, Badiashile, Nkunku, Fofana, they're all starters for Poch, and all of them have started less than a third of the games this season. So that's half the senior squad. And I don't know what. And then you've got the should be good enough arguments, for Jackson, Palmer, Mudryk, because they're all guaranteed guys to have inconsistent seasons because they've got next to no PL experience and their age. And Poch might, look, guys, I'm fully accepting Poch might not be good enough in the long term, but tell me one manager who plays with 12 injuries, a squad with an average age of around 23, has to improve multiple young guys in the long term, all while keeping players on his side, dealing with a hierarchy that is intent on throwing more inexperience his way. What we need this season, realistically, is 10 to 15 games with a full-strength side. We haven't had one game with a full-strength side yet. Improvements in young players and a minimum top 4 league finish, like a minimum finish of 4 places better than last season. This is the facts, people. This is the facts that people don't want to face, that people don't want to accept, and they've thrown them out as excuses. This is where we are right now. And this Crystal Palace game is going to be tough. You know exactly what they're going to do. They're just going to come and sit deep. They're not going to offer much going forward. Mateta doesn't do much. Eze, I think, still out injured. They obviously got Michael Olise, who is a very, very talented footballer. We tried to get him in the summer, but we obviously kind of, I don't know what happened there, but the deal seemed done, and then the whole thing just fell apart. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him turning up and scoring the winner at Stamford Bridge because of the history between us and the player, and him almost joining us. But like, Palace don't offer much. They're a rigid unit. They concede quite a lot of goals. They don't score that many goals themselves. And we've actually won our last 12 matches in a row in all competitions against Crystal Palace. And yeah, I still feel really nervous about this one. We did one of the very few teams that we did the double over last season, and yet I'm here and I'm feeling nervous about what to expect from this game. As I said, Sterling, I'm glad Sterling's missing because I'm raging with him. But look, is Nkunku ready to start? He came on at half an hour or so against Wolves. He had 20 minutes against Newcastle. I mean, in an ideal situation, you don't want to be throwing him back into the starting 11 now. But I actually think with injuries, we don't really have a choice. I think Nkunku has to start this game. And then you're looking at Jackson or Broja, who, they were both awful against Wolves. One of those are going to have to play. If I'm being honest about Nicholas Jackson, I was highly critical of him after the Wolves game, and I think rightfully so. But what I would say is that some of the stuff I'm seeing and the reaction to Jackson is just well over the top. I mean, look, I'm not comparing Jackson to Drogba by any accounts, but let's throw it back to what, guys, some of you must remember Drogba's first season. He was pretty poor. He didn't really stay on his feet that often. He missed a lot of cities. He got booed by the Chelsea fans. And look, I'm not, by no account am I saying that some of these crop will become great because they won't. But I still think there is something there in some of them. And it's more that the problem we've got is we're trying to have, everyone needs to have a season at once, It's more, that's what I'm getting at. They're trying to have everyone have that season at once. Lampard, remember Lampard was massive in that season for Drogba. 04-05, Lampard's second best player in the world. And it's a massive problem. But the big difference is Drogba came into a side with experience, character, and discipline, and that enabled him to become the player that he did. Because the team was doing so well, and because others were doing so well around him personally struggling wasn't really highlighted as much because it didn't matter as much. And the thing that helped Drogba, as I was saying, he's in a team that became the best in the land, so him starting slow didn't get much attention. And look, I'm saying it, if Nkunku had been fit, guys, people would be much more supportive of Jackson because let's be real, Jackson's numbers aren't that bad. You cannot be useless if you scored 7 goals in the Premier League before Christmas. We've had worse footballers that fans gave never-ending support to, despite them not giving much back. Werner, Havertz. So, I mean, the latest excuse for Drogba was that he was in a good team, which actually undermines that excuse because if you're in a better team and still can't produce, what does that make you? And this is exactly my point here. This is a huge problem we've got. We're way too critical of players. I admit that I'm critical of Jackson, but we've got a situation where we need players to all have unbelievable seasons at once, and that simply is not going to happen. I mean, this Palace game, we're down to the bare bones. I don't know what really can be done differently in this game. The 11, which I'll get into in a sec, is pretty much going to pick itself. I guess we just need to show discipline. We need to show attentiveness. We need to make sure we're switched on from set pieces. And above all, we need to take our chance because against Wolves, we didn't even play that badly. We weren't that bad against Wolves. First half particularly, we played some nice stuff until we got to the final third. As soon as that 3-on-1 was missed with Sterling, then our heads dropped and the tide turned. We gave up a cheap goal in the second half. Another mistake from Badiashile at the back for Doherty's goal. And the game was gone. And Nkunku's consolation, instead of getting us a point, really meant absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. I don't really know what to expect, but I know that this is a must-win game. I know the pressure's on Pochettino big time. But for those people talking about changing the manager as well, you can spend what you want, spend whatever money you want. No club, and I mean this, no club in world football is getting round the problems we've had with injuries. And I hear people say, oh, well, Mourinho or Conte would be doing better. No, they absolutely wouldn't. These injury issues precede Pochettino's arrival and they speak to a wider issue. And I'm not buying into the fact that all these players are injury prone. It's just a cop-out excuse. All these players cannot be injury prone. It simply does not add up. But it's mad. It's absolutely mad. The amount of injuries we've got, how it's affecting the team. We can't build any continuity. You need continuity with a young side, and yet we're having absolutely none of that. And look, people can say it's excuses, but it's reality. It's the reality of the situation. People say, we should be doing better than we're doing. Well, why? With what we've got, with how the squad's been assembled, why should we be doing any better? This is where this team's at right now because of how the squad's been put together. And a game at home to Crystal Palace is going to be really, really tough. Got to take our chances, got to be switched on, got to be alert. And we just got to play ourselves into the game. Don't rush. Take your time with things, and hopefully we can get there. But I'm going to dive into the starting lineup that I would like to see for this game against Palace tomorrow. And as I was saying, we're down to the bare bones. It's going to be Petrovic in goal. Obviously, Petrovic in goal continuing. I don't think he was that bad against Wolves. Nothing he could do about either of the goals particularly. Malo Gusto at right back. We need at least one of these right backs. One of these fullbacks, to be someone that can bomb up and down the pitch and offer an outlet. You're almost playing with a back three and Gusto as your marauding fullback. I would personally continue with Thiago Silva. I know I'm a big Badiashile fan, but for me, it's another mistake he's made. He made a mistake against Newcastle individually. He made a mistake against Newcastle in the league as well. Made a mistake for that Wolves goal. I would stick with Disasi at the back. I know he's not been great and he almost gave a goal away as well, but I'm going with Disasi and Silva. And look, Levi Colwill we know is going to play, but I can't advocate for Levi Colwill playing at left back. So I'm going to go with Ian Martson, even though I know he's not playing. Midfield's going to be a really tricky one because it's going to have to be this. I'm just basically hoping that Moises Caicedo is fit to start, because otherwise I've got no idea what we're going to do. So I know he's doubtful, but I'm going to have to put him in based on the fact that he's not been fully ruled out. And otherwise I've got no idea what we would possibly do. Bold decisions here, but Noni Madueke, I actually thought he had a decent impact when he came on against Wolves. So I would play him down the right-hand side. And then I would play Mykhailo Mudryk down the left. Those were both really positive when they came on. They're direct, they're actual wingers. They run at players, they take people on. They're not afraid of doing that. Yes, they'll be frustrating. They'll give the ball away, but they will more than likely make something happen. So I'm going Gallagher, Caicedo, Madueke, and Mudryk. And I know it's not ideal, and I know this would be earlier than we wouldn't be starting him, but Nkunku's going to have to start in this number 10 role or second striker because we literally don't really have anyone else available. I mean, I would have played him as the centre forwards because I don't really want to see Jackson or Broja again after that, so soon after that Wolves game. But we just don't have the players available to do that. Lavia in midfield, not available to start. I mean, you look at it and you've got how many midfielders we've got on the books in Gallagher, Caicedo, Enzo, Ugochukwu, Lavia, Chukwuemeka. All these guys, right? 6 or 7 midfield players. We've got one in Conor Gallagher who is definitely available. 1 from 7 midfielders that is actually 100% fit to play. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then up front, I mean, I would probably continue with Jackson just because he has scored a few goals. I thought Broja was dreadful when he played. And look, Jackson, I think, is more likely the future than Broja is. And Broja's not really shown me anything to suggest that he's any better than Nicholas Jackson. So I would probably continue with our top scorer. But that is pretty much the team, realistically, that's going to play against Palace. I mean, I've got absolutely no idea what's going to happen if Caicedo is not available, what we go with there. Do we just go 4-1-3-2, Gallagher in midfield on his own, and then Jackson and Broja up front? I've got absolutely no idea, but this is going to be a really tough game. We're down to the bare bones. There's going to be next to no options on the bench that can make a positive impact. This is going to be a really, really tricky game. But that is the lineup that I would go with. There's not really any other options we've got available to dictate and change the game. So, yeah, that's the team we're going to have to hope can get the job done. It's going to be an interesting atmosphere at Stamford Bridge tomorrow. We need an early goal. An early goal will massively lift the mood, but I'm just not sure if I can see that one coming. I'm going to go, I'll be brutally honest, I think we can get the win. I think we will respond. We have responded a number of times after losing this season. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea win. Just a narrow win, but I wouldn't be surprised if we went a goal down. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the preview. Make sure you smash a like, subscribe to the channel, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Enjoy the rest of the festive period, and I'll be back again with another one soon. Peace out, up the shelves.